I was actually going to play a Christmas song this morning because I'm that kind of person that like,
Yeah.
as soon as it's November 1st, my brain is holidays.
I walked into Starbucks and they've got all of their holiday cups,
Yes.
people. All right, but do we know what the holiday season is also bringing us real estate agents? It's our favorite time of year. It is business planning time, right? Woo woo. It's time to keep the foot on the gas because there's still actually a lot of business to be had in November and December, but it is also our time to start figuring out how do we take this momentum that we're creating and that we've got in 2023, and how do we start pushing it towards our plans for 2024. So this morning, we're going to kind of kickstart all of you to be thinking about your business planning strategy. And we hope that all of you are going to be able to join in on one of our live coaching and training sessions that we're going to be hosting this November and December. But you also have the opportunity to tune into Coffee, where over the last 5 weeks, Kevin and I have been kind of dialing into some of the different elements of your business plan and things you can start looking at.
Yeah. So I think a big part of our business plan, I know we all think numbers and real estate and all that great stuff, but there's really a lot of elements that I think go into a business plan. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what we're calling the major eight. And these are all different pieces of our life that all come together and create you and your life. And I think they all kind of need to be in balance, and one should not be, lacking more than others. And they all need to be worked on in addition to your business, right? In order to bring real fulfillment and real success. So we really want to talk about some of these concepts today. And here's a nice little graphic for it. So there's a lot of different sectors. We start with family, spiritual, attitude, knowledge, relationship, financial, career, and physical. And Amy and I are each going to touch upon all of these different aspects of our life. And we want to make sure that all of these are in balance. And when they're all feeling good, then I feel like we're really set up for success and able to focus on making sure that we are set up professionally in the right way.
Yeah, and I think the reality is that we are not always going to have all 8 of these things in
Never.
perfect harmony, right? That's just the reality. You can shout it in the chat as we go through these, which one maybe 1 or 2 are going to be ones that you feel like you really want to focus on. Again, because everything is never going to be 100% perfect. But I think the more we are aware of sort of these 8 different segments and how they may be impacting kind of our overall look at life, our overall look at our career, our personal world, it just allows us to make tweaks and changes. So the first one we're going to talk about actually is one of my favorite. It's kind of your physical well-being. It's something that I know for me is really important. I know that when I'm not feeling good from a health, exercise, and nutrition standpoint, and I certainly have my ups and downs, but I just know the difference when I'm kind of in the zone, when I'm feeling good, like I'm getting a good night's sleep, and I'm doing things regularly to take time to just sort of work out so I feel good, and I'm just taking overall good care of myself. One of the things that I learned probably about 5 years ago is somebody had said to me, in order to be valuable to anybody else on the plane, if things go bad, you've got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And I think for all of us, we do so much for our families and for our clients. Our self-care tends to become the last thing that we look at. But maybe one of the things you can, or we all can strive for, is making sure, am I taking good care of myself now so that I can be a stronger, better, happier person for everybody else? So, what do you want to change moving forward that might allow you to have a much more stronger sort of physical aspect of these 8 major components of your life?
Yeah, that candy at midnight was definitely not helping you.
It's out, sugar out of the body.
Yeah. So another important component is family, and I love this one. And I feel like this is where I'm always failing year after year because it's hard, right? Because we're busy. I mean, between our jobs and activities and sports and social stuff, like some of this stuff falls to the wayside. So this is always an important one for me every single new year, when I'm making my resolutions, this is always one that I want to focus on. And it's really focusing on who in your life is special to you and how is your life balanced as it pertains to them. It's tough, right? There's a lot going on. How can it, to me, this is like, how can you be more present when you are with them? And you're not going to have a ton of time to maybe be with your kids or the ones that you love, but when you do get those times, can you be present? Can you be in the moment? Can you be focused on them? Can you not be looking at your phone, which I totally fail at that? But really, how can you just remember that family is numero uno in this lifetime? And when that feels peaceful and at balance, I think everything grows from that.
Yeah, so true. I failed. I had an epic fail last night with family, but today's a new day. And I probably could really focus on this piece, this next one, which is spiritual. And, it's, when it's spiritual, it isn't even necessarily so much, am I going to church? Am I focusing on those things? To me, what I look at is how am I grounded with the world, right? And it's also, I think, your relationship with the universe, but I also really think it's kind of the relationship you have with yourself, where you take the time, like somebody had said to me the other day, do you meditate? And I said, who has time to meditate? I don't have any time. And they said, that's the reason why you meditate.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
you have to find that time to figure out what grounds you so that, I move a million miles a minute. Angela does too, not as fast as me, but, and she's much more methodical, but I feel like sometimes I'm just go, 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 go. And I don't ever have that time to find that quiet space where I can just sit and allow the opportunity to figure out, kind of where my head's at as it relates to everything else. And this also gives you the opportunity, I think, to ground yourself in a way that gives you better purpose when you're going out and interacting with others. I am a really big believer of the law of attraction and karma, and the idea of like what you put out is what you're going to get back in. I talk a lot about, when you walk into a room, do you give energy or do you suck energy? And I think when you're not in a really good spiritual place with yourself, sometimes we're the ones that suck the energy out instead of giving energy. And my whole focus is how can I be one that brings more energy and positivity into a space? But a lot of that has to come with where we are grounded first. So there's a lot of work, spirituality and your relationship with yourself and the universe. That takes a lot of time and work, and I know it's an area that I'm working on, but it is a really important component, because if this can feel really good and anchored, it allows you to handle a lot of the things that come at you from the external world. So that might be an area one of you is thinking about, you need to work on this year.
I love that. I think that aspect is probably one that I'm working on this upcoming year. And I always think of like what happens, what is meant to be will be, or everything happens for a reason, like all of those common sayings that we hear. Just believing that there's a purpose, right? There's a reason why things are happening, and kind of also not being a victim, right, to your surroundings and to things that come at you, and finding that power. So I really love the
And
spiritual element of
manifesting,
it.
like, I learned a lot about this year with the idea of manifesting, like almost always already visualizing yourself succeeding in that one thing that you do, because I think you can manifest great things. You can also
Yeah,
manifest terrible things to happen.
yeah,
So it's really almost visualizing what you want. And that kind of is wrapped up into this component.
love it. All right, so career, why we're all here together all the time in Accelerate is really talk about your career, right? So are you happy with where you're at in your career? Are you satisfied where you're going to end up this year? I bet there's a lot of you that may not feel great about where you're going to end up this year, and just know that you're not alone. It's definitely been a little bit more of a challenging market this year. What do you want to achieve more next year? What steps do you have to take in order to make that come to fruition? There's another common saying that you can't get different results by doing the same thing. So, and especially in a market like this, you really have to be implementing some new, different things in order to get different results and in order to grow next year. So just think about, what steps can you take? What things can you put into place now now that we're going into the lull of the holidays and we have some time to breathe and some time to think, what things can you put into place now in order to set yourself up for a more successful year, achieving the things that you want to?
Yeah, and I would just say the one thing too with career is, give yourself kudos for what you did accomplish this year. Even
Totally.
if maybe you didn't, it was a year that was a challenge for a lot of people, and it was some stuff out of our control, just with inventory levels and interest rates, right? Lots of things were moving and changing in the market. So sometimes what we expected it to be come January 1 of 2023, maybe that didn't go quite as planned. But I think what we tend to do is we always look at the stuff that we didn't get accomplished or
Mhm.
that we didn't hit as far as like our goals. But I want you all to just jot down, take time to take a look at what did I do? What muscles did I strengthen this year? What things did I accomplish that I am proud of and have helped me grow in my career? Because all of those things are building blocks into how next year, the year that you're going to have and the successes that you're going to have are because of these things that you're building on.
Yeah. And every single one of you, I guarantee, has something successful that you learned this year, that you accomplished this year. So I love that. And actually, that's a good transition into attitude, Amy.
Attitude, yes. I always laugh because we talk a lot about glass half full or half empty at our house. And I'm probably more of a glass half full kind of person, but not everybody that I know is. But I love this being a victim or a player. I actually the first time I really heard that was in 2012 at Ninja, and I just loved that concept. And this kind of goes back to looking at the world and recognizing there is stuff going on out there and you've got zero control over it. And there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot of things, on the humanity front, the economic front, there's a lot of things that might be worrying us and scaring us and things that we have to really take a good hard look at. And we can't put those away. But I think what we have to do is keep our emotions in check in recognizing this is happening, but some things I really can't control. So what can I control? And that is taking a look at, our behavior and our attitude and how we approach things. Am I going to be a victim and saying things are happening in this world and to my business, so I can't be successful? Or are you going to be one that says, you know what, I'm going to figure this out? All of us are dealing with certain things happening in this world right now, and I'm going to figure out how I can approach it from an attitude of manifesting great things and being really proactive in finding solutions and getting more business, as opposed to just sitting and reacting and coming at it from a space of that I have zero control. There are some things out there that you can't change, but there's a whole lot about you, your actions, your attitude that you really have control over. So, and it can be really hard to overcome that. So, but being mindful of it is step number one.
Love that. And then, of course, financial, which we talked about last month a lot. What does your current financial landscape look like? Are you worried about debt? Are you worried about your long-term security? What changes can you make now to put yourself in a better position for next year? And I think, like Amy said, there's so much going on in the world right now with war and economics and inflation and interest rates, and a lot of it can feel overwhelming. And I think, again, you're not alone. I feel like everybody is having some sense of overwhelm, especially financially, when bills go up and maybe our pay doesn't, and sometimes our pay is even going down, as an independent contractor. So those are real stressors. And I just think that, take a step back. What can you change? What do you have control over? Right? You have control over what you're spending, for the most part. Can't control all of your bills, but you can certainly control that Starbucks that you buy every day, right, Amy?
What are you talking about?
Um, but and just taking it one bite at a time. You can't build Rome in a day, right? So what small steps can you take now to help implement some changes to make your financial stability and your financial health look a little bit better next year?
Yeah, and I think all of these things kind of tie into this big picture of relationships, right? We were talking at Expo and the big theme was on love and relationships and connection, because all the stuff that we do, why do we do it, right? And I think it all gets summed into, the relationships that we have, the connections that we build with our friends, our family, even with our clients, right? And trying to figure out that sweet balance between, being fulfilled and working hard and doing what we need to, but not letting that overtake the time and energy and moments that we want to have with the most important people. So I think this is a constant, probably for all of us. I would say this is one that I know we're all always in motion and working on. And, this is a great one to look at and say, how did I do this year? Am I struggling with prioritizing, my important people over feeling like I need to work more? Are we stressed, and are we allowing that to get into, our relationships? So, really kind of taking a hard look at that. And I know for me, this is a big one, especially, we talked about family, but within my family, I have from some very important relationships. And, I've got 2 teenagers and they're killing me right now. And so it's, really a big struggle of, making sure I'm giving enough time for them when they really need it. And balancing everything else, like my love for being at Properties and doing what I do with all of you every day. So I know we all have that, but it's just one of the biggest ones I think we can take a look at and see what we can do to change and make some tweaks moving forward.
And then we have knowledge. So what knowledge have you gained this year? Learning is growing. What about some new things you want to discover? I think whenever there is a lull in the market or some downtime, I think it's such a great opportunity to really get your learning on. And, this industry changes so much and so fast. There is always something to be learning and a way to be growing, and some way you can be sharpening your sword and really finessing your skills in this industry. So, take advantage of any time that you have in order to learn something new, learn a new tool, right? Keep your eye on what's happening in the industry right now. Be able to articulate that to your clients. Make sure that you can present yourself as the authority in real estate and someone that people want to go to when they have questions. How can you be sharpening your sword right now? I think there's just a lot of time and a lot of opportunity to be doing this for sure.
Yeah, I love these. I love looking at all of these kind of 8 sectors, almost before you get into your business planning, because I think you need to know, where can I really improve? And again, there's probably a part of every single one of these that we could tweak or improve. But what I would encourage you to do is, take a look at all of these and pick out like the top 2 that you feel probably need the most work or the most attention from you. And, give it some time and thought, and maybe even jot down a few of the things that you do want to accomplish or improve in these areas. And, by having that kind of in your mind as you move into your business planning over the next, call it, 4 weeks, it's just going to allow you to make sure that that your business plan, yes, we call it business plan, but I think we really should be calling it your life plan, right? For every year, because it is, what am I going to do professionally? How am I going to create success there so that I can then in turn live the life that I want with the people that I want to be connecting with, right? It's very holistic. So I think having these elements and really being mindful and on high alert with these as you go into business planning is going to be really valuable. So there are 6 foundations that are fundamental when it comes to having a focused, well thought out plan to move into action in 2024. And so Angela's going to go through the first 3, and then I'm going to wrap the last 3.
Yeah, so these are just elements that we think are super important in order to create a solid business plan. These are really foundational and key pieces to it. So of course, number 1 is commitment. You have to be committed. No one else is going to be committed for you, right? Like, this is all up to you. My dad had this saying that like totally rings in my head. And it is, if it is to be, it is up to me, which really goes along with number 2, which is accountability, right? So you have to be committed. You have to hold yourself accountable to reaching your goals, and you have to be motivated, right? So here's an example. I am motivated by having enough money to put towards X. What motivates you? Do you want to buy a new home? Do you want to buy a second home? Do you need to send some kids to college? Would you like to retire one day? Right? You have to understand what is motivating you to put this awesome business plan into place, and you have to hold yourself accountable, and you have to be committed. And it's okay if you fail, right? You have to get back up and you have to keep working at it.
Yeah, you don't have to do all of this alone, right? Those elements of commitment, motivation, accountability. There's ways to do that where you can get reinforcement and support from others, whether they're colleagues, your managing broker, your family, but that your first step is to kind of figure all of these out. And then there's your future vision. By 2025, I'd like to have doubled my business from 10 million to 20 million, from 5 million to 10 million. I'd also maybe like to, create a team structure, or I'd like to align with somebody else in the business, kind of figuring out where do I want to be a year from now or 2 years from now allows you to then work backwards and start making a plan to get to that future version of yourself. And then it's also, though, really knowing what's my current mission right now. What are some of the things that I feel like I need to do right now in order to get to that future vision? So the first, we kind of talked about your major 8 sections. One was being knowledgeable and taking the time to make sure that I really understand my market extraordinarily well, and that I really understand my clients and what they're going to be needing, right? Maybe another mission of yours, depending on how long you've been in the business, is I feel like I could do a better job of developing relationships and maybe being connected, both at the office with my colleagues, but maybe I should even spend some time figuring out how can I be better connected within my community, so then that way, in turn, I can be more knowledgeable and more effective for my clients. And then, maybe, your mission too is finding passion in believing, in certain things, or focusing on certain things that are going to really fill your bucket, right? So it's just kind of understanding what are my goals right now? What's my mission in order to continue to develop my business? And then this we've been talking about all year long, right? And this is going to be really critical as we move forward, not just with sellers, but you're going to see over the next couple of weeks, we're really going to start providing some information to all of you about how to have that conversation with buyers out there, as we've got some of this stuff going on with the lawsuits, and just being able to understand how to navigate into this new world. Even more than ever, you're going to have to really understand, what is my value statement when I'm talking to my buyers and to my sellers, demonstrating to them what it is that you're accomplishing to help them meet their goals, being able to know that you can articulate that clearly and make sure that it's something that you also really believe in.
All right. So we've outlined a bunch of core concepts to take into consideration as you start your business planning, or complete your business planning for 2024. And we really, really encourage you guys to sign up for one of our local business planning events. We are holding 7 of them starting next Monday, all through the beginning of December, in 4 different states. We're really coming at you and everywhere that you are. If you cannot make your regional business planning event, please reach out to us, because there are opportunities for you to attend at different regions. We just want you all there. We will also do a Zoom once all of the live events are over, just in case somebody missed it, but we really would like you guys there in person. So please, please RSVP for those events. They will be working sessions, pen to paper. We're going to get you writing down some things so you walk out of that session feeling like you have at least started your business plan and feeling like you're on a good track. So that's really your homework for the whole month. And of course, to continue prospecting and developing and maintaining those relationships. So what's coming up next? I wanted to give a nice overview of what the rest of the program looks like for the rest of the year. So you have your accountability group meeting next Wednesday. I will post the agenda in the app after this webinar, like I always do. We will have a guest coach webinar on Wednesday, November 15th. We have an agent coming in who lives and dies by his business plan. So I've never had him on as a guest coach before, so I'm super excited to have him. So please join us for that. We have no programming on Wednesday, November 22nd, due to Thanksgiving week. And then your last accountability group meeting will be on Wednesday, November 29th. So you'll have a chance to say goodbye to your team members. Hopefully it's not goodbye, it's just to see you soon. We've had a lot of Accelerate groups who have stuck together. throughout the next course of the next year because they've had really good energy and they've meshed really well together. So don't let the end of the program this year be the end of your relationship with your colleagues. And then stay tuned for an invitation to our in-person end of year celebration. Tentative, it will be Wednesday, December 6th in the morning. And we're looking to do probably something like a brunch. We're still ironing out the details, but if you could save that date and time, we'd love to have you guys there with us. It will be in person and super fun where we can really wrap up the year. Amy, anything else?
I love it. I'm super excited for that. And I know in the chat, a lot of people asked, how can they sign up for business planning? Easiest way to do it is you should have received an email from me either last week or over the weekend. We sent it out based on region. So I think last Tuesday, we sent it out for the western suburbs. And then I think Wednesday or Thursday, we sent it out for the North Shore. And then on Friday, we sent it out for the Northwest burbs. And then over the weekend, we did City, Michigan. So just take a look and Google me or search for me in your email, and you should be able to find that. And there is a link to register, but we're also going to probably be sending them all out again this week. So just keep an eye out. If you still can't find it though, you can always reach out and send an email to me or to Angela, and we'll make sure we get you the link so you can register.
And you know what I'll do?
Great too. The one thing to note about them is, as Angela said, they're going to really be working sessions. So a little bit different than last year, where we had a lot of great concepts, a lot of great ideas, and we kind of got you started on a few things with your business plan. We really want you to walk out of there with a lot of stuff filled out, a lot of brainstorming ideas that you share with your group at your table, so that you're walking out really feeling like I've got a lot of this stuff already thought through in my head.
Yeah. And I just posted, I'm going to post all of the links in the room in the app for
great.
you guys. So you can actually see. And Amy, I just thought I might do that in all of the different rooms in our app. Just so everybody has access to all the links. I think that would be helpful. And I think we still need to send out the Wisconsin link. So we'll get to that too. But yeah, but if you guys, please try to attend one of these. It's going to be really great. So anything else, Amy?
I don't think so. We just are really excited to see all of you. I hope you all take the chance to make it in person for these sessions. Angela, myself, and our team will be there. And we're just excited. You know, I think with every new year comes, you know, what's it going to be like? What's going to happen? How am I going to wrap up this year? You know, I think our focus and energy is towards how can we help you get ready to be in a really great space as we move into next year. And I'm a really big believer that there is going to be a lot of change. There's going to be a lot of new dialogue, but I think with all of that comes opportunity. You know, as we have to explain things to our clients and the consumer, we need to become the professionals that, again, are knowledgeable and educated and can articulate things really clearly to them. And it's an opportunity to really stand out from all of these other agents that are out there. So what we're really, you know, working on is how can we help support that, so you feel really confident and you feel like you have all the resources you need to make it a really successful year. So
Awesome.
so thanks for joining us. We hope you were all at Expo too. It was a great day. And we'll see you in person, right? Well, we have one
soon.
coaching session, right? But we'll see you in December.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you soon, guys.